Pull up this CNN poll, Matt, if you can just find this. This is was released yesterday. Among the public overall, the Democratic party's favorability rating stands at 29%. This is a record low in CNN's polling dating back to 1992. To 1992.
Before I was born.
Oh, that's disturbing.
Sorry.
Bill Clinton won with 45% of the vote. And Bill Clinton's entire campaign was sort of built around this idea of we've got to run away from the Democratic Party. A drop of 20 points since January of 2021. Republican Party stands at 36%. And this is what's fascinating. Many in the party, this was taken in March 6th to 9th, so about, I don't know, like 4 or 5 days it ended before the Democrats capitulated to Trump, or those 10 did. Chuck Schumer did. Many in the party saying publicly their leaders should do more to stand up to President Trump. Democrats and Democratic-aligned independents say to do this 57 to 42%. That Democrats should mainly work to stop the Republican agenda rather than working with the Republican majority to get some Democratic ideas into legislation. Understand that relative to this time, more or less, probably September of 2017, 8 months into Trump's first term, 74% of Democrats, you remember the resistance at that time, 74% of Democrats in 2017 and Democratic leaders said their party should work with Republicans in an attempt to advance their own priorities, just 23% advocating for a more combative approach. And now the numbers are 57 to 42% flipped.
Prior to this.
In the days before Schumer does this. He is so out of touch where the Democratic Party is. So out of touch. Not just the voters. Here's an example of that right there. He has no clue what's going on. Completely no clue. Writes a book about anti-Semitism. I'm glad he did. Good for him. But it's about as relevant to this moment when you're capitulating to Donald Trump. I mean, during the Bush years, Josh Marshall had this theory that I doubt he talks about anymore because it's, but it was called the bitch slap theory of politics. That it didn't matter what it was that George Bush was doing and the Republicans were doing to the Democrats. He was beating them up. And what that communicated to Democratic voters was that if the Democrats can't even stand up for themselves, if they don't keep getting like personally and as a party humiliated, how are they going to stand up for us? There's like a meta story that's going on here. And every time you empower Donald Trump, every time you do not show an act of resistance or a willingness, and I understand, believe me, the impetus for saying harm reduction, but they're cutting SNAP benefits now.
Right.
They're destroying the Social Security Administration now. They're doing all of this to undermine these things now. They're wreaking terror now. It's ongoing. So now you're quibbling about a matter of degree, but the big difference is in the second case, they're paying a massive political price, and there's actually like an opportunity for pushback and to stop the whole project.
Yep. And I mean, I think our friend of the show, Van Lathan, said this on Higher Learning, like even in reference to the Democrats, where people just, well, if you're fighting a bully, it doesn't matter if you win the fight. You've just got to land a punch. Just got to land a punch, because it's that quote that you just referred to from the Republicans. They know that in the fall, when they're not going to need Democrats, why would they seek the Democrats out? They could codify in the like more formal budget process all of this stuff that is so horrible that the Democrats agreed to, but without any Democratic input whatsoever, because this was the time to use leverage. It's the only point of leverage that the Democrats in the Senate have for the entire calendar year. For the entire calendar year, because they don't need Democrats in the fall.
Nope. This is Schumer responding to questions from reporters about that provision in the Republican budget bill, which he helped pass, about Washington, D.C. Schumer's response was, first, Republicans made this mistake. It's in their bill, so they're responsible for it. Wait, what?
Why'd you vote?
His whole dynamic has been, we want to prevent harm. But when D.C. loses $1.5 billion in their budget because of this bill, he says, well, the tricky thing is Republicans are responsible for it now. This is completely contrary to his perspective on the whole thing. But a number of them realized it was a mistake, and I think we can fix it, and I'd work with them to fix it. Somebody just pickpocketed you, and you're like, but, I'm going to talk to him and see if I can get my wallet back. But I handed it over to him.
This is when you talk about him being a concierge. This is what it is. Like, sorry, you're not a wartime leader. like the amount of urgency that is required here, he's completely incapable of. Because there's the other part of doing politics, which is like the communicating, the theater of it. Especially when you're out of power, articulating the urgency of the moment is a part of that. And you do that with your actions. And you do that by demonstrating that to people. So he's not doing any of the politics that are required for a moment where we don't have actual power, where the Republicans have the Supreme Court, the executive branch, and both chambers.
All right, we got to take a break, head into the fun half of the program. We'll play Chris Murphy on this.
That's so much fun.
So much fun. Your support makes this show possible. You can become a member at jointhemajorityreport.com. When you do, you not only get the free show free of commercials, you get the fun half. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.